Good evening. How is everyone tonight? Thank you so much for coming. This is a wonderful night for me. It's my one opportunity a year. It's the one time that I talk about a variety of different topics and hit a lot of different things. And I love that I get to see familiar faces. I have folks that are so faithful. You come every single year, and I'm grateful for that. And I get freshman parents, and for you it's too late. You already signed the contract. Your kids are already here. You're already sucked in, and I'm so glad you're here as well to hear about things. So I'm going to do my best. I've had a little bit, I don't know if it's the beginning of school, and so I used to coach. And I know at the beginning of the season, you kind of don't yell across the gym so much. And then once I do that, at the beginning of the season, I kind of lose my voice. I don't know if it's coming back to school and talking with teachers or a little bit of a cold this week, but I'm going to try to keep my voice going. I brought my water up here, so I hope you'll pardon me if I need to pause and regroup. Let me pray for us. I'm Dr. Price. I'm the principal here. Let me get us started in prayer. I know we have a lot of folks coming from a lot of different backgrounds, but I want to bless your students and bless our evening together tonight. And I'm going to jump right in because I don't want to waste your time. And I know that this is the night where some of you either have Camp Mustang counselors or you have campers. And this is the night where you don't have kids at home and you had a break. And so I want to make sure I make this worth your time, and then you can have some evening, and maybe your house is a little quieter. I know mine will be. So let's pray. Lord, thank you so much for tonight. Thank you for the opportunity that we have to be together tonight. I thank you for each one of these families that you've brought to Houston Christian, and I pray that you would be with their students this year, that you would bless their time at Houston Christian, their time in the Houston Christian community. And I pray that the whole family, parents as well as students, would benefit from their time here and being a part of this community. And we're just thankful for the opportunity we have to be together, and I pray this night would be fruitful and beneficial. In your name we pray. Amen. All right, so you came to the principal preview, and some of you are like, I actually don't know why I came. It was on the calendar. It seemed like a good idea, and maybe I should show up. It is actually really a great night. I've been waiting for my opportunity to put this as a Netflix special, but they haven't called me yet. But I'm ready. I'm ready if you know somebody. So our outline for tonight, so you know what we're going to do. We're going to start. I'm going to give you the purpose and let you know kind of why I do this. And then we're going to talk about our core values. And I'm going to tell you what I told kids, or I told some kids, and I will tell more kids next week when I meet with them. I haven't met with all the students yet. And then one of the purposes is to have some accountability. So I'm going to share with you some of the things we worked on last year. So for those of you new, that doesn't really help you. But for those of you that were here, I told you we were going to work on certain things, and I want to tell you a couple things that we worked on and brought about. And then I also want to tell you some things that we're going to be doing this year. And the idea behind that is when your student comes home and starts talking about this, you're like, oh, that is what they're talking about, not thinking they're crazy or have no ideas. We'll talk a little bit about some academic things, and we'll talk about some changes we're making to community groups this year. I'm going to give you a few tips and a few recommendations, and that'll kind of close us out. Sound okay? Great, because you already showed up, and I'm going to feel really bad if you walk out now. So I need you to hang in for at least a little while and then pretend to get a phone call if you're not happy. But the purpose tonight. So why are you here? What is my goal? First of all, one of the things that I think is really important is transparency. This is my 11th year at Houston Christian. I've seen the school change a lot over time, and I think that there's a lot of good things that are happening. And I've found over the years that just sometimes parents don't always know what we're doing. And I like to explain that, and I think it's so much easier for us to partner together when we're transparent and you understand what we're trying to do, and you can partner with us, and you see the impact or sometimes the feedback that it's not working with your students, and we know to try something different. So that's number one, is transparency. The second thing is I really want to equip you for a partnership. The more you know, the more effectively that you can work with us, the more effectively you can work with your students. And so hopefully this will open the doors for you to be able to have some conversations with your students at home. And I think that will make more sense as we go. The last one is accountability. As I mentioned earlier, we don't want to just say, hey, we're doing great things, trust us. I do hope you trust us. I hope that you, when you signed up and you decided to come to Houston Christian, I hope you had some trust and faith that we were going to deliver on certain goals that you have. But I also think it's helpful when we're able to provide some data and provide things to you so you know we're actually doing what we say we're doing. So that's kind of our purpose tonight, and I hope you'll see that in the midst of what I share. There's more that I could share than what I have time for tonight, but I'll do my best to be efficient, and I'm going to move pretty quick. I hope that's okay. So if you thought we were going to be kind of slow tonight, I'm going to move through, and then I'll stick around after and answer any questions, okay? I know it's late in the day. For some of you, you're like, I had a full day of work. Dr. Price, you're going a little quick already. It's just how it goes, okay? I want to make the most of our time. So I have the opportunity to speak with students each and every year. They don't really get a choice. I build the schedule, so I get to force them to get with me. We had about 20-minute sessions with 9th and 10th graders, and I had seniors yesterday. I've not had freshmen yet. I will get freshmen next week, next Wednesday. But one of the things, there's two things that I always talk about, and they know this. I always quiz them, and by the time they're a senior, they can pretty much tell me what I'm going to talk about. I do a little different take each year, but I talk about core values, and I talk about academic integrity. I'll get to academic integrity a little bit later and share with you kind of what I share with them a little bit and what is new around that. But one of the things we talk about is our core values, and we try to put these 4 core values in front of them all the time in a lot of different ways. And we've been, the last few years, not every year, but most years, especially recently, we've tried to pick a core value and really make it an area of focus. And so last year we did honor, and we talked specifically about how they honor themselves and how they honor others. And so that was sort of a theme that we talked about at different points in the year. This year, our focus is on scholarship. And I think that really fits with some things that we're trying to do this year. And there's a verse, Proverbs 18:15, out of the ESV, says, an intelligent heart acquires knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeks knowledge. There's a lot of verses in the Bible that talk about knowledge and wisdom and discernment, and so that's something we're going to be unpacking in different ways throughout the year as we talk about some of our core values. Now, the goal, though, is not only that we focus on scholarship. We're going to tie that in to community. We're going to tie that into honor. We're going to tie that into heritage. We focus on all 4, but scholarship is a theme for us this year, and I think you'll see that as we go tonight, why we chose that and why that fits with some of the work that we're doing. Okay? Make sense? Core values hopefully are familiar to you. Hopefully you've encountered them before. All right. Now, next thing on my agenda was to talk about what we did and what we did last year. So last year, I know that you probably remember very vividly everything we covered last year in the principal preview, right? But we talked quite a bit about some things that were being developed in the Bush Center and some work we were doing. And so one of the things that we had last year for the first time was we had some TED Ed talks by our students, student talks, and we did that, and we will be continuing to do that this year. That went really well. We had some students do some really good things, really enjoyed that. We also, largely through the Bush Center, we've also networked with other Christian schools around the nation, really. Some local, but some all across the country, and some of the best Christian schools around. We've been able to bring and host a leadership conference here. And you might say, well, Dr. Price, why does hosting a leadership conference help our students? Well, one of the things it does, it allows us to network with some of the best schools in the country and puts those leaders on our campus, and it gives us a lot of opportunities for contact and for us to talk with other schools and see what they're doing that's working. Really make sure that we're committed to best practices, and we're able to really make sure what we're doing is top of the line. And so that's been really a fun conference, a really beneficial, I think, for our faculty and staff and folks that have been involved in it. And so that's really helped us in terms of developing our leadership, and as that trickles down to students as well. And the last thing I put on here is we've really been continuing, and this is something that's been around for quite a while, but our Passport to Lead program. And for those of you, I really want to put that on there. So if you have a new student to Houston Christian, I believe every student should do the Passport to Lead. There's no reason not to. There's certain activities that they need to do. We will have next week, we will have a ceremony. They have like a passport idea, and we use that theme, and they can go and they get stamps for different things they do. We want them to experience different things and experience leadership, and that's a huge part of what we do here at Houston Christian, and it's a tangible way where our students can really benefit. We've had a lot of guest speakers in and a lot of opportunities for our students to take advantage of it. The Bush Center's been really fruitful and really brought a lot of things to us that we're really excited about. So that's just, we talked about some of the things last year. I felt like it was a really good year. We really spread some of the Bush Center programs, and I think in that, it really was able to touch every student in some way. And that's really what we want. We want the Bush Center to be something that impacts everyone. So that's exciting stuff. Just sort of a report on last year. Now, the next thing I'm going to share is a little bit of last year and a little bit of this year. And that is artificial intelligence. And this is a hot topic. Everybody kind of wants to know about it, and there's all kinds of information out there. And so last year, we were really looking at trying to figure artificial intelligence out. My guess is some of you are in that same boat, right? If you don't have information that's current, and by current in the last 6 weeks to 3 months, information's probably changed in this area. And this is something that is really evolving very quickly. And so last year, we were trying to figure out how best to use that. And we really looked at adding something that had some structure to it. So we incorporated something called Flint. Those of you that have had students here, have you heard of this? Your students talked about this at all? Okay. So Flint was basically a way to provide some structure and provide some help for students. And for those of you that may not be as familiar, we're continuing to use this year. And what is Flint? Flint is a tool that's built specifically for learning and for students. And what it does, first let me say, some of you use ChatGPT or some other things like that. Use free things, maybe some of you pay for things. Free advice, we tell the kids this, but if you're using artificial intelligence and you're not paying for it, you are paying for it. It's not free. If you're not paying for it, they're using your data as part of, that's your currency that you're paying for it. And so one of the things that we want to do is make sure that we are teaching our students good practices. And so Flint is based on the back end of artificial intelligence called Claude. It's one of pretty popular one if you're up on the various ones. It's a large language learning model. But one of the things about Flint, because it's built for students, is it doesn't use the student data. Like it's walled off, so it protects the student data. So it doesn't send it back to teach the AI how to do things. It's restricted. And what it is, it's also very structured. So as a teacher, I can upload an assignment. I can upload even a rubric or certain directions, and I can determine how much help the student gets. So I can say, give them a very low level, like give them a hint if they need it, or I can give them a moderate amount of help, or I can give them a more significant. So just this week, I had encouraged one of our new staff members to use Flint, and they said, I don't really like Flint. I said, why not? What happened? And they said, well, I asked it to try to do something for me, and it said, well, I'm not going to do it for you, but let me help you know how to do it. And so it started teaching them something. And they said, ChatGPT would have just done it for me. I said, I'm really sorry. It appears you were a student in the system. Let me switch that to the teacher mode. So all our students have access to Flint, and we are really using that across the board. That is where we want our students to go. The other benefit for us is it allows a teacher to see what the students are chatting, and exactly, it's easy for the student to share, but also as a teacher, I can go in and I can see how the students are using it. And it's really helpful to know what the students are struggling with. And actually, the artificial intelligence will look at my students and will give me certain analytics and data so I can then adjust my instruction or help them out in certain ways. So it's really a powerful tool that we've been continuing to learn and grow in how we use it. But it's very intentionally designed for students. I saw just this past week, the way Flint is designed, ChatGPT has something new called study mode. I think they're just releasing. And it's similar but not the same. And I think you're going to see more and more of this that's built specifically for students where it will not do that for them, but will actually teach them how. In addition to Claude, Flint also incorporates some higher level math capabilities. AI is not always perfect when it comes to math. It depends which AI you're using. But Wolfram Alpha and some things like that are very good with math and very established. And they have integrated some of these things into Flint as well as the Claude backbone. And so it's really designed very specifically for students. So I hope that makes sense. All our teachers will be using that. Your students will likely be using that across the board. So as I mentioned, Flint's built on the backbone of Claude. My guess is you may have heard your students say, I'm going to chat that, and that used to mean they were going to maybe chat someone. They are chatting something, in artificial intelligence. Usually when they're chatting something, they're putting on ChatGPT. Just a quick educational piece. So if you go to the free ChatGPT, that is a 3.5 typically right now. If you want ChatGPT 4.0, you have to pay. I saw an article in the last week and a half or so, ChatGPT 5 is out or will be coming out, and it's just going to keep going. And each one has more and more capabilities, and not all of the artificial intelligence tools are created equal. There are different ones that are better at certain things. Overall, this is a very crowded marketplace. You have things like Google has Gemini, Microsoft has Copilot, Meta is Facebook's AI. There continues to be more and more that come out all the time. And the truth is, our students have to figure out how to navigate this. And simply hoping for the best is probably not going to be our best plan to get our students ready for this world that they're in. I know you may, if you're familiar, ones you may not be as familiar with, DeepSeek and Grok, which is connected to Twitter, have more recently come out. But this is kind of just some of the search, like you go and you prompt it. AI is being integrated in so many ways. If you're someone that uses Grammarly now, Grammarly is no longer just the spell checker. It will totally rewrite things for you. Canva, if you're familiar with Canva or Adobe tools, there's so many things that AI is now integrated in, and you simply tell it what you want it to do, and it will do it for you. It will even generate images. If you're on social media, you may have videos, and you're like, that doesn't seem quite right, like it's based in the real world of physics, and it probably isn't because it was generated by artificial intelligence, and things might be a little bit off. Something you may not be familiar with, Quillbot, it is basically you copy and paste text in, it will paraphrase it for you, so you don't have to put the effort forth on it. So I'm probably not sharing new information to you about this. My guess is you probably know that artificial intelligence is kind of a crazy, I don't want to say arms race, but to a degree it's a crazy race right now in terms of developing things. And our students just sort of jump in. And what we want to do is not just have them jump in, but we want them to have the wisdom and discernment to know what is fruitful and beneficial for them and what is actually hurting them. So what does that look like? Well, I think this is probably a really great analogy. Ted Chiang said, using ChatGPT to complete assignments is like bringing a forklift into the weight room. You will never improve your cognitive fitness that way. I think that is such a great analogy if you think about it. You have to work. There are things that we can use tools for that help us a lot. But when it comes to things like cognitive, like problem solving, learning, really thinking hard, just letting the AI do it, we're shortchanging our students. We're shortchanging our brain. And it's just like a muscle. If you never use it, you're not going to be able to use it. And that's actually what they're seeing. There's research that's being done on brain waves when you have a group of students write a paper with artificial intelligence and a group of students write a paper and then get feedback from artificial intelligence. There's a huge difference in how AI impacts their outcome and their product and how their brain is engaged. And there's going to be more and more of that. So we want to make sure that we are helping students be cognitively fit, if you will, if you want to fit with this analogy, go with this analogy. So here's sort of the way that we are looking to do it, and we're going to be meeting with students next week on Tuesday and Wednesday. Every student during their ILT will take some time, and they'll be in a larger room, and we'll be talking through what I'm going to show you a very brief version of, and I'm going to give you a very concise version of it. Last spring, we looked at the work of several different schools, several different professors, several different things across the country, and looked at how they were working with artificial intelligence. And from that, a whole group of teachers came up with this, I just refer to it really as a rubric of how we use artificial intelligence. And we made it kind of look like a periodic table, if you will, so it's easy. And the goal here is, with the different types of use, is that teachers would be able to easily show students, this is the kind of use that you can have with artificial intelligence on this assignment. So when an assignment gets sent home, or there's a homework assignment, or there's a paper to write, or an essay to write, whatever it is, they're going to have all clarity on what they can use artificial intelligence for and what they can't. So let me tell you kind of what the different options are. I'm not going to go in a great deal of detail, but let me give you a brief sort of synopsis of what this looks like. So the first one here, the red one says no. That's no use. It's pretty easy, right? Okay, let's keep going. Second one, UL, that is unlock. And the idea there is that it can help a student brainstorm, or if I'm stuck on a problem and I don't know the next step, or I don't know where to go from here, it helps me get not stuck anymore. And so it kind of unlocks our learning, so to speak, is a good way to put it. I kind of think of it as it's like a boost over a speed bump. I'm not doing the work for you, but I'm just helping you be able to keep going. The next one, the yellow one, is feedback. And this is where I, as a student, I create something. I maybe submit it to AI and I ask it for feedback on it, and it helps me make it better. But I've done some work first. So I did this the other day, and my guess is many of you in the room have done it as well. I wrote something. I had everything I needed in it. I was pretty sure that it didn't need to be as long as I had written it, because I tend to be a little bit wordy at times. Not all the time, but sometimes. Some of you would like, yeah, I can see that tonight. But it was a little bit wordy, and so I just submitted it, and I said, can you please make this more concise? And it made it about 60% of what I had it, and it was great. It still had everything that I wanted in it, and I actually didn't just take it. I went ahead and kind of did a hybrid of mine and it, and it was great. So something like that is really helpful, and that's actually some of the research that says that the product for students, when they use that, can be 2 to 5 times better. When they write it first, they're engaged with it, they're invested in it. There's a learning process of the writing, for example, but the feedback really makes it better. The fourth option there in blue, the ST, is for specific tasks. And this one probably will differ by subject area, but one example of this would be if I have maybe a data set and I need to put it in a chart, or let's take that example. So I have a data set and I want to create a chart with that data set. So I might put that data in and then have it help me generate a chart. So I'm not spending a lot of time with numbers and cells. I have my chart, but then I'm analyzing that data. I'm still doing the rest of my lab report, but that specific task I'm able to save time by using artificial intelligence for. So something like that is very specific. Like this part of the project, you can have AI do this for you, but the rest you need to do. And then the last one is green, and it says CO for Copilot. And Copilot basically means I can use AI however it helps me and benefits me. And that's sort of a open door. Now, you might say, well, Dr. Price, are you going to have a lot of Copilot assignments? I don't know. We're kind of working through this. Each department is using this and talking through it. I would say Copilot probably will not be the most common. I think there's going to be some teachers who do a lot of no use on certain things because they want students to be able to do stuff. But this is a way that every student will have all clarity on what they're allowed to do. And we're going to give them examples from each department, and teachers will be very specific, especially here at the beginning of the year, of teaching them and making sure they understand fully what they can do. The other component of this, it's not true for the red one of no use, but for all the others, teachers will have something that's called an AI reflection form. And the idea is it's just a couple questions, and it's basically, how did I use AI? How did it help me? And then when they use Flint, they can get a link, and they just paste that link in. And what it does, it allows a teacher to go back and see what their chat was and how they prompted and actually what AI did for them. And that just helps us hold students accountable, but it also helps us see where are the areas that they struggle and how can we help them along in the process. So I think this is really, really good way to give students some framework that they can work from. We're developing this. This is similar to what some other people have done, but yet unique. I don't know if anybody else is doing the reflection form quite how we are, and I'm pretty sure the students are going to complain about that. and that's okay. We'll work through it. But I feel like this is really a very learning-focused model, and I'm looking forward to see how it evolves, and we will continue getting feedback from students and teachers and continue improving it as we go. So like I said, we'll be training students on this. I know some of you may have questions about artificial intelligence. I've had a few parents ask me, will we do any kind of workshop? And I think we're going to try to figure out if we can, a time when we may be able to do some kind of parent education opportunity for those that want to learn more about artificial intelligence, what its capabilities are, how it's impacting students. We'll see if we can do something later this school year and give you more information on that. But we've created posters of all this. It's going to be up in every classroom, and every student will be familiar with it, probably more familiar than they wish to be. But we feel it's a good way to go. Now, the other thing on the poster, I couldn't fit it all on one slide, so I put this is the bottom of the poster. I mentioned there's two things that I talk about, core values and also academic integrity. And so academic integrity is important. You want our diploma to mean something. And we want our students to learn. And I know that it's hard. It's easy to take shortcuts, but shortcuts so often, I told them, the students I spoke to yesterday, I told them most things that are valuable in life require effort and energy. The things that are really easy, it's rare that really valuable things are just really easy to use and have shortcuts for. And so it's really important that our students, and it's interesting talking with students, I asked them, I said, do you know what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do? In university, they say yes. Now, when they've done something and they come in the office, they're generally not as forthcoming, but they know, and when you ask other students, like if you say, well, this happened, the students are like, they know they can't do this. So the students know what they can do and what they can't do. We're going to make sure that that's true of all clarity, and we're going to seek to hold them accountable. But ultimately, the goal is so that they will do the work so they can really benefit from the learning. And we believe by giving them the tools like this, that when they go to the university level, they're going to know how to use artificial intelligence to benefit them, but they're also going to have the cognitive fitness to be able to do the tasks that are required of them. So we're excited about this, and I expect you'll probably hear more about this in the future. So I hope that's helpful to you. That's a big thing that we've been working on with teachers, and we're going to continue working on with students. All right. So that feeds us right into academics. How are we doing academically? And I will tell you, I was reviewing the data for this presentation, and I am super happy with how we are doing in terms of our academic progress. One of the things that I look at is how are our alumni doing. I've consistently had so many of our alumni come back and tell me that they are more than well prepared for college, and that they are doing great. I've had many students tell us they are helping out their peers at the university level, that they feel like they have all the skills they need, and honestly, sometimes their classes are a little too easy. So I think that's great. I love the alumni data. I also look at AP scores, our standardized tests, and a way for us to know how we're doing in terms of the AP scores. So our pass rates last year were 90%. One of the things that I don't want to do is gatekeep our APs. That's not what some schools will try to boost their scores, but we don't want to do that. We want students that will be successful. We don't want to overwhelm students, but we want students to be able to try things, stretch themselves. And so we had, you can see here, this has a number of years, last about 9 years on here. And you can see there's been a lot of growth. We're consistently performing at high levels with our AP scores. And one of the things that I love about this, as I was looking at the data, is we had 410 AP exams. That is the most exams that we've offered in the last 10 years. So that's since I've been here. And we had 201 unique students that took those 410 exams. And again, that's the most students we've had. And we have our senior class. So typically APs, for those of you that may be unfamiliar, APs are typically your juniors and seniors. We have a couple sophomore AP classes, but more often than not, your juniors and seniors. We have 105 students in our senior class, so they were at that size last year as juniors. So with a smaller class of upperclassmen, we still have more students that are taking higher level exams, and I really think that's fantastic. Our numbers are even higher this year with the students that are in AP classes. So I'm really happy with that, and I'm really pleased on what that shows. We've added AP Environmental Science. That was a new course for us last year. That was something that students had expressed an interest in, so we added that. If you look across the board at all our AP courses, they are all above global averages. So there's when we get our data, we get our school data, we get Texas data across the state, and then we get global data for everyone who took the exam. And we're consistently operating at above the global averages, often by 20 or 30 percentage points. And we're continuing to look at what AP courses we're offering, where we can expand, and what is best that fits our students. In addition to our AP courses, we also offer some dual credit courses. Dual credit courses, so for those, some of you may not be as familiar with dual credit. So dual credit is through Colorado Christian University. They correspond a college course to what we're offering. There's certain criteria that is placed on the teacher in order to teach the course. There's certain criteria that's placed on the curriculum, and certain ways we assess students. And so we have to go through a process to get courses approved in order to have them as dual credit. If it's a dual credit course, students can register for the course. It's I want to say it's a couple $100 per course, and you can then take that credit to most universities. It depends what the course is, exactly how it transfers, but it is another option, so it's not just AP courses where you can gain college credit. During the last year, we offered 16 AP courses. That included adding environmental science last year. This is a list of the dual credit courses that we had last year. Between AP and dual credit courses, if you took everything, which you cannot do, okay? There's no student who can take every course in multiple languages and multiple sciences. Like, you can't do that. But if you could earn up to 73 hours of credit through the various AP courses and dual credit courses we offer, which is really, really phenomenal. And we have a large number of teachers who have graduate degrees, a large number of teachers who qualify for dual credit, and that has really helped us in terms of our dual credit and our AP offerings. We're looking to add, and I say looking to add, we have to go through a process of approval where I believe we just submitted in the last few days, actually, English 3 and also AP Government, but we are hoping and expect, we pretty much know what they want at this point, and we've been very successful in proposing courses, and we're hoping to add a couple courses there to this list. So last year we had 70 unique students take dual credit, and 440 credit hours were earned this past year. So that's 440 credit hours that students are taking and able to transfer into college. My daughter graduated last year. I'm thrilled. Between AP and dual credit, she was able to take a number of hours that are fantastic and may even save me some money. Wouldn't that be nice on my college tuition? So I hope your children will take advantage of that. Your students will take advantage of that. So academically, I'm really happy with what the numbers show and where we are, and so that's really exciting. However, what we do here at Houston Christian is not just about academics. It's not just about accomplishing a certain grade, a certain skill set. We also want to raise people and raise our students to be well-rounded people and well-rounded students. And so one of the things that we're doing, so we have community groups. Every student is in a community group. They are divided by grade level and gender. So all freshman boys are in a community group, freshman girls in a community group, and it ranges anywhere from 9 to 12 students in a community group. And they sit together in the community group in chapel, and in the past we've used it. Sometimes we break off in community groups during chapel time. There's different things we do in community groups, but it's been a little bit of a struggle to have a consistent sort of relationship and really have those students connect. So this year we're doing something a bit different. In many ways it doesn't impact you a lot as parents, but I really think this has a really high value impact for our students. And what we've done is we've adjusted the schedule. So on Wednesdays, we'll get out at 3:20 instead of 3:05, same as Thursdays when we have chapel. And we've built 20 minutes into the day that's a community group time. So every Wednesday, and it actually won't end up being every Wednesday, because some Wednesdays we'll have PSAT testing, or some Wednesdays we'll have family time, which is a family gathering where all the students get together. But we will have probably, I'm guessing it'll end up being about 3 out of 4 weeks, we'll have community group time. And so those students will actually get to know each other at a deeper level. So one of the benefits is we want every student to feel connected. I love it when I have seniors that say, well, I know so-and-so. We're not really friends, but I know them because they were in my community group freshman year. And that's a real thing that happens. Students do make connections. So we really think this is going to help students build some better relationships with each other. It also gives us an avenue. A lot of schools have something that is called advisory time. Common in middle schools, but it actually has become very popular in high schools. We don't really have a time for that. And there's things like health and wellness, there's things like social media use, just having some conversations that are really relevant to kids. And this gives us an opportunity to do that, and we're going to try to build that kind of well-rounded, building character and having conversations. Sometimes that may be a reflection on somebody that spoke in chapel or a special speaker we had. Could be something tied to leadership. So we're building out that curriculum. Our chaplains are taking the lead in that. It is not necessarily a spiritual focus. That is one component of it, but there's multiple components of that. And we're excited about what that is happening, what we're doing there, and the impact it will have. And so on Wednesdays, when you can ask your child, what did you do in community group today? Did you have community group or did you have family time? What did you have? What are the topics you talked about? And that's a great way to engage them. That is every week. All right. You doing okay? We're on the downhill here, cruising in. Something parents often ask me is, how can I help my kids? And some of you that have come to this before, you've probably heard me, so I won't belabor this. But for those of you that are new, I do want to take a moment and share some thoughts with you from my perspective in watching this over time and working with students and working with parents. How can I help my students? First of all, please don't believe everything you hear. I have 3 teenagers. 2 are in college and 1 is a freshman this year. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, I have said things, and I said, what did I say? And they have told me what I've said. It is not what I said. Have you encountered that as a parent? Okay, so here's the thing. They're going to come to school, and they're going to say, my mom or my dad said this, and we're going to say, okay. But in our head, we're thinking, your mom and dad didn't say that. So here's the thing, though. The other way is your student is going to come home and say, my teacher said this. There's a good chance if you're like, there's no way that teacher said that, there's a good chance your teacher did not say that. We're going to give you some grace, give us some grace, and if you have a question, please reach out to the teacher. When you're in front of kids all the time and you're talking, there are times you're like, shouldn't have said that. We try to be really careful, and we are held to a higher standard. But if you have a concern about something a teacher said, please reach out. I can promise you, no teacher is trying to offend you, offend your student. Let's please work it out. But let's give each other some grace. We're going to give you grace as parents, and give us a little grace as educators as well. We'll do our best to make sure we're on the right track. We have a great faculty here, and I love our faculty. They are committed. They love your students. I love. Yesterday, I heard two young ladies were walking across the sidewalk at the end of the school day. I think it was Tuesday, it's the first day of school. And they said, they didn't know I was just standing nearby. They weren't talking to me, and I overheard them say, I really love my schedule. I love every one of my teachers is nice. And I love that. I love hearing that. We work really hard to have the right people in front of your students each and every day. I think we really got a great group of teachers here. One of the things that we want to do is we want your students to grow and be independent. So there are times where you may get an email from a teacher, but that teacher writes your student and copies you. That is so you know what is happening. They're not writing you. Let your student. It's hard. Let them be independent, okay? Obviously, as they get to be juniors and seniors, they're going to be more independent. But even as freshmen, we try to start them off. We try to talk directly to kids first, give them a chance to solve problems. I encourage you to do that. If your child comes home and says, I'm struggling with this, have you gone to see the teacher? It's scary. It's good for them. Make them go talk to the teacher first. And there's usually things get resolved pretty quickly. But it's great for them to develop that courage and confidence. We want to be partners with you. That's part of why I do things like tonight. And I hope that as you see things, you will find ways to be engaged and you'll engage with the community. One of the things that I will do frequently is when I send a note home, I will send and I will say, these are these are some questions that you can ask your child. And one of the reasons I do that is because I want you to be able to have conversations with your kiddo. And so hopefully, I'm not the only one that does that, but hopefully when we get one of those emails, you'll kind of see some of those questions and you'll say, okay, I'm gonna pull some of these out at dinner, and this will be good dinner conversation, and we hope you'll take advantage of that. We want to equip you ultimately as parents. I love having conversations with my kids when they get in the car. They have no escape. They are stuck. The only negative is I live pretty close, so I've got about 5 minutes sometimes, so sometimes I wait till I go somewhere else. But when they're stuck in the car, it's fantastic. And I know if you're a boy parent, sometimes, how was it? Fine. Everything okay? Yeah, it's good. Sometimes that's what you get. And then if, I don't know about you, but for me, the girls, it's like, I didn't ask a question, and you're still talking. So it depends. Different kids are different. A little bit of stereotyping. It does fit my family specifically, but I do hope that you will be intentional about asking your kids questions and engaging your students. All right. On the note of students, one thing I do want to highlight that's different this year, and I don't know if you've figured out yet. I think people are still figuring out, but we have a new traffic flow. And you might say, Dr. Price, of all the things to talk about tonight, why are we talking about traffic flow? I'm going to be really quick on this, but I do want you to know that we are thoughtful about this. First of all, my own personal commentary. Okay, I'm on my third child and fourth teenager I've taught to drive, and I can tell you this, and some of you if you're not in the throes of this, you are about to be. It is a harrowing experience teaching teenagers to drive. They are all terrible. And they think they're amazing. Like, they're so excited. They're like, I am so good. I'm like, that was a right turn and you didn't hit the curb, but you almost did, and that is our win today. So one of the things we have found in this Kempwood entrance, it is now the Kempwood entrance, it is never an exit, is with our wonderful student drivers and everybody else in a hurry, everybody's kind of coming in the same spot. So what we have now is when you go out to the right, you go out the gate, and it's a powered gate. I know for some of you that have been here, you're like, is it locked? Is it open? Is it not? It's always open now. It's a powered gate, so you pull up. And if you think it's not open, pull a little closer and wait. It will open, okay? But that way everybody goes out there, and we don't have the coming in and going out at the same time. And honestly, it's for you as parents. We're trying to protect your vehicles as well as protect our students. So thanks for helping us out with that. And just know this is very motivated by safety and whatnot. So please follow the signs. We try to get signage up. And just pull up close to that exit gate. It will open for you, and people get used to it. But don't worry. It's always open. All right. Last thing I want to do tonight is give you a few recommendations. I know you're on the edge of your seat for this. You can hardly wait. There is a QR code which you are welcome to scan. It will take you, and this is updated. It was updated earlier today. I will also update it. I believe it's updated with my slides, the slide deck I used, and we may post a little bit of a video on there. I'm not sure yet. We'll see how the video is and if I like it. But that will be posted on this webpage. So there's a few resources on there. I'm not going to go over everything that's on there, but I do want to recommend a few books for you. The first one is Your Teenager's Not Crazy. My daughter has questioned me about this book. She's like, you had to get a book to figure out I'm not crazy. I'm not going to respond to that when it comes to my own daughter, if you know her. But this book is written by a medical doctor and a counselor, and it also includes a faith perspective. I think as far as the books I've read that don't make me feel guilty as a parent, but really help kind of apply practically what is teenage adolescent brain research, what does that mean, how do I approach that as a parent, and what are some practical applications. It's got chapters on a lot of different topics. I encourage you, I'm about 80% of the way done with it, and I've been really pleasantly surprised in reading it, so I do want to recommend it to you, and I do like also that it comes from a Christian perspective, but regardless of the Christian perspective, there's also biology and sort of counseling sort of principles in there that are helpful to anyone. So I always recommend the Culture Translator. This is actually a newsletter. It comes out once a week. It comes to your inbox, and it usually takes like 3 things. It'll take like slang terms or pop culture things, and it's just an easy way you can kind of skim it in your inbox. It comes to you. You don't have to go search it out. And lots of times being in a school, it's not hugely new to me, but it helps me make sure if I hit kind of the top things. And so it also comes from a Christian perspective, and so that's a really nice resource that I would recommend to you. And it also gives you some discussion topics that come to you every week that you can talk to your kids about. Popular book that is making a lot of rounds right now is Jonathan Haidt's The Anxious Generation, How the Great Rewiring of Childhood is Causing an epidemic of mental illness. And I think the thing about that book is it'll probably make you want to take every device away from your children, ever, forever, and just easy, okay? But that's a great book to read. I've known some folks that read it and have really recommended it. With a lot of our staff and employees here read it over the summer. It was one of our book options for summer reading, and so I encourage that might be something that you're interested in and you might find informative and helpful to you. So, all right. So this is our goal tonight. I'm right at the time that I wanted to be. So hopefully I hit everything that I said I was going to hit. I don't know if I answered all your questions. I hope you feel like this is worth your time. I rolled through a lot pretty quickly. I will hang around afterwards. I'll be right down front here. Happy to answer any questions. And if there's anything we can do to help you, know that we're here to support you. We're grateful to have you here as parents. And I hope that you have a fantastic night. And for those of you that have kids gone to camp, may your night be quiet and peaceful. And may you get some rest until they return, and maybe they'll be tired after a couple days at camp. I don't know, 50-50, and you'll get a little rest tomorrow night too. So thank you so much for coming. We're so glad you're part of the Houston Christian community. Have a great night.